Hello grandkids, raise your hands if you are completely satisfied with the current state of art and entertainment. That's what I thought. Although entertainment and art are distinct from one another, they do overlap on many occasions to complement each other to make things more interesting for both entertainment and artistic purposes. For example, instead of making a body of work solely super deep and introspective, you might opt for a layer of humor, giving it more personality, or like the kids today might say, a little more sauce, a little more flavor. Wait, I don't think the kids are saying flavor. Are the kids saying flavor? What I'm getting at is, art and entertainment are intertwined. We see this in film, literature, fashion, and music. Right now on social media and in real life, there's lots of chatter about what's happening with creativity, or, there's an attack on real art, which I do agree with. Well, yes, art is subjective, but I do think in recent times there has been an attack on real art in entertainment, where it feels like content is purposefully dumbed down to keep us on the surface or in a docile state. So in this video, I want to dissect the current state of art and entertainment, more specifically uncovering why we're no longer entertained in the society of overstimulation, the rise of both superficial entertainment and the untalented, talented singer. I am Don, your pop culture grandpapa. Let's get into it.
Catastrophic.
Are you not entertained?
To have this conversation or exploration on why we're no longer entertained in society, we have to focus on what's popular in the entertainment zeitgeist at the moment in order to understand why entertainment overall feels less satisfying. And on my side of the net and what I'm seeing in real life is a lot of people in all age groups are now consuming alternate forms of content instead of entertainment in a traditional sense. People are consuming superficial content in this hyper-religious way. And I'm not referring to mediums such as, influencer reality TV / streamer content. We are in this climate where people are feeling very disenfranchised and are turning to cult-like content to feel seen or for their views to be validated. For instance, we've seen or we are seeing this take place with men who have wounded egos / in the manosphere community, which has had so many different figureheads and iterations in this post-pandemic internet age. Think Kevin Samuels. He popularized the high-value man concept, encouraging men to focus on status, wealth, and fitness while bluntly rating women's attractiveness on a scale, which drew millions of views because we love watching degradation. Degradation, it's fun. And positioned him as a leading voice. Kevin Samuels rated men in a harsh fashion as well.
You got a big dick?
Huh?
You have
I mean, it's above average. I ain't know Ron Jeremy.
No. I asked you if you had a big dick. I didn't say it was above average.
I don't know what that is, really.
Nigga, you know if you got a big dick or not. Stop the bullshit. Every dude know whether or not he got a big dick. I know dick. You don't know?
I mean,
you don't have a big dick. That's the point. You don't have a big dick. You don't have a big wallet. You're a fat dude. And you got a lot of nerve thinking you should get choosing signals at 5'10" and 300 pounds, making less than $1,000 a month at 20 years old. And women should approach you. What they get, they don't even get a big dick.
But it was his blunt delivery while rating women and critiques of women that amplified his likeness in the manosphere, especially in the black manosphere space. To kind of sidetrack a bit, a counter to Kevin Samuels was probably Derek Jackson, who mainly attracted a woman's audience while giving dating advice in a relationship guru style. Additionally, Jackson's content promotes positive relationship dynamics, forgiveness, and personal growth, often framed around empowering women to set standards and recognize unhealthy patterns in men. Now, both Kevin and Derek turned out to be frauds. Kevin ended up dying alone, something he preached a lot to quote-unquote delusional women on his live streams, and Derek was apparently cheating on his wife while preaching that good shit to lonely women. But back to the manosphere. While the movement might front as a vehicle to help young men maximize their chances in both the dating and corporate environments, it also became a form of entertainment that is glossed in superficiality, but sold as a dire necessity. Focusing on surface level traits emphasizes high value markers like physical fitness, wealth, status, or alpha behavior. After Kevin Samuels, we saw the Andrew Tates, the Sneakos, Aiden Ross types taking his place, who created even more dangerous rhetorics, further feeding a now online monetized community who also find their content entertaining to watch. And now we are in this new area of red-pilled entertainment that involves, and I'm very sorry I'm even talking about this, man, because ignorance is bliss, and I deeply regret going down this rabbit hole. Wish I could have all my memories erased of this new iteration of the incel. Now enters clavicular.
Adderall, steroids, peptides, I do it all.
He's a 20-year-old streamer who is kind of now the new leading man in the incel/manosphere community. Clavicular is what we call a look maxer, and who engages in look maxing, which according to Wikipedia is a term referring to a process of maximizing one's own physical attractiveness, which originated on male incel message boards in the 10s. In the 2020s, the term left relatively obscure internet forums and was popularized on TikTok and social media groups, mainly used by men. Now, clavicular ain't got shit to do. It doesn't only want to look good, but is willing to do anything and everything that will make him the ultimate Chad who'll mug you to death with his ultra-masculine looks. Bruh, these motherfuckers want to Vogue so bad. Like, just Vogue. By the way, mogging is asserting dominance over another person based on their appearance and being Y-pilled, which refers to one viewing themselves as more masculine than the other and is a spin on the red-pilled phrase. Clavicular. Anyway, his methods for maximizing a physical appearance are bone smashing, which is like hitting facial bones to reshape them, heavy steroid use, injections, and other hard maxing techniques aiming at ascending in social/sexual hierarchies.
What is looks maxing?
Looks maxing is the furthest extent that you could take self-improvement, right? So we've seen a lot of, different forms of that over the years, mostly with bodybuilding. I would say was the main one for a while for men, from about 2010 up until 2020. And then it sort of shifted into looks maxing. That kind of crept into the space from different niche, forums, especially those of PSL, which was just three.
Pumpkin spice latte, obviously.
No, just 3 looks maxing forums. So that influence kind of crept in, and it's very obvious that the face is more important than the physique. So people were doing the self-improvement, and it wasn't really getting them the results that they needed. So that's why the further step needed to be taken to sort of go about improving upon your entire life. I started taking exogenous hormones, testosterone, when I was 14. And then it became more of a shift from bodybuilding oriented stuff, like we talked about before. Say this happened to a lot of people, into more looks maxing stuff over the years.
You're 14, you're going through puberty. You're getting a nice injection of testosterone the old fashioned way.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you do that?
For facial masculinization, just optimizing all of my growth pathways so that I could have like a super physiological puberty, right? So, you could do a lot with pharmaceutical intervention. So taking those steps at an early age is kind of like it's a now or never mentality, right? So once your growth plates close, there's nothing you could do.
You see the point on self-improvement, and ambitious young men want to improve themselves. But there are different ways you can improve yourself. There's the physical way, there's spiritual improvement, there's mental improvement, there's, all sorts of improvement.
Right, but what's going to actually get you further in life? What's going to get you opportunities in the workplace? What's going to get you, dates, with prettier women? It's going to be looks 100 times over, and there's really no denying that. With a lot of the recent, self-report studies we've seen, research from the dating apps that's been released. So I would say that looks is just the most important metric, and it's arguably one of the easier things that you could maximize.
Oh, and he's also a racist, which will definitely make you more attractive.
Hi, how are you?
$3.
Yeah.
You'll collaborate. G, keep it up.
Thanks, nigga.
You like all races?
Yeah, I see you invited. I've invited a couple black girls over. You like black girls?
No, not at all. Like, not even a little bit.
This is entertaining for a lot of people, both for those who agree and are a part of these communities, and for those who do not agree with the messaging or who find these types of content ridiculous but can't seem to look away. which is then amplified by the algorithm, making our social media feeds more dystopian. Essentially, superficial entertainment is void of artistic value. We have AI art and AI influencers taking over social media, blurring the lines of what's real and what isn't. Plus, there are real people online insincerely reacting to AI videos. There's also the gooning trend that apparently is gaining momentum as well. Now, for those who do not know what gooning is, think of flicking the bean or choking the chicken. However, gooning is taking that to a complete different altitude, where people do it for hours and hours. You know, you'd think money long. Anyway, in order to reach this euphoric high, and it gets worse, apparently male gooners are forming these communities where they'll come together, whether in real life or online, and they'll all goon in unison into oblivion for even more enhanced euphoria. Moreover, these new types of entertainment that are taking over, looks maxing, gooning, and AI slop blurring the lines of reality can be exhausting while numbing you to everything else, essentially overstimulating our brains, affecting how we normally engage with regular or more balanced forms of entertainment, as whatever we consume in whatever setting, especially in an amusing one, can affect how we respond to everything else around us or in close proximity. Talent and artistry are no longer valued in society. What was once praised for being incorporated in music and film is now viewed as too complex work for the brain. Being artistic is now being attacked, while mediocrity is yearned for by droves of people.
But movies these days seem to be so goddamn watered down. For instance, people always say, did you see Sinners? Yeah, I seen that confusing ass shit. I don't want no movie that I got to sit there and try to figure it out. That's just like rappers with metaphors. Fuck the metaphor. Give me the hard lyrics, give me the fact, give me a good track, get a bad bitch in your video, and that's all I need. I don't need all that. I'm telling you, I don't need all that.
Clips a 9. Chat, the reality with this guy is that if you care that much about lyrics, just read a book. Ask the rappers to write books and read their books, read their tweets, read their thoughts, something like that. The music is more than just fucking lyrics. Nobody gives a shit. I listen to a song, I don't care about what they say. They could be speaking German for all I give a shit about. I listen to some Chinese rap sometimes. You know why? Because if it's a vibe, if it bops, if it bumps, I play on my speaker. I play the song because I don't care about no lyrics, bitch. It's noises. It's not fucking, oh, dude, that was poetry. I don't care.
This is not to say there are no noticeable artists out there right now who hone their craft in their fields, or that everyone is requesting less complex, amusement. Absolutely not. But what we do see is a drastic difference in what is covered more in the press and what gets the most engagement. This is not to say that there needs to be only complex content, as there is room for variety. I too desire content where I can just relax to or turn my brain off to from time to time. And also, feeding your brain solely complex things, while that can be highly intellectual, at the same time, there is such a thing as being too intellectual, which can make you somewhat out of touch and not fun to be around in certain social settings. Now let's talk about the talentless, talented singer for a bit. For those asking, what is a talentless, talented singer? The talentless, talented singer is basically a lot of singers today who are all image, who also does the absolute bare minimum when it comes to singing and clearly lacks artistic vision. And look, these types of singers have always existed. Just want to point that out because I know someone's going to want to call that out. Like, look, we don't have to call out everything that is obvious. Anyway, and solely depending on skill or talent is one component of being a commercially viable act. And that's not to say one have to be commercially successful to be highly praised either. But within this context, right now, the music industry is oversaturated with basics. Meanwhile, inherently talented singers who does put in effort, numbers seem to be dwindling, which is the frightening fact that talent doesn't matter like it used to. Even the singers who are clearly talented do their best to fit today's status quo, dumbing down their talent in an effort to seem nonchalant or not to get called out for doing too much. And sure, there's such a thing as doing too much or being a tryhard, but I think the scale of being a good tryhard or walking that fine line has been lost in recent times. If we look at R&B right now, it's the most nonchalant singers killing it. Meanwhile, the belters and the tryhards are paid dust or only paid in Twitter currency. Take Chloe Bailey, who I must admit kind of did too much during her leaving her duo and Have Mercy run. I like Chloe though, but she kind of did too much in that, little era there. Anyway, the talent is obviously there, and despite that is only paid in Twitter critique. Meanwhile, Mariah the Scientist, who I actually like as well, by the way, but let's be real, she can't sing. Bruh. Basic vocals down, not a compliment, but is gaining traction in R&B. Had one of the biggest tracks in the genre last year, Burning Blue, one of the better usage of an interpolation I've heard in a while. To sum it up, like Dora the Explorer, I like that song too. However, it's all in the production value. Take that away and I doubt she would be, the hit maker she is at the moment. I don't know, man, but it does seem like people do yearn for mediocrity. Doja Cat was right. Now, let's talk about something that is very fun. Politics.
Right.
Hello, guys. I'm with my favorite president, the best president of all time.
And I'm with the queen of rap.
Politics holds a lot of weight as well in this conversation, and is being ignored as a factor in the current state of entertainment right now. Politics and entertainment are becoming one in the same, where the boundaries between news, entertainment, and personal spectacle have blurred, as influence is more important than one's policies. Or it's about who gets the biggest celebrity or tech owner endorsement in order to get the most votes, to seem relatable over one's abilities to lead. We see this shift with the Orange Man, a celebrity being elected as the president of the United States, turning the country's affairs into this anxiety-ridden spectacle while constantly ignoring the people, while also pitting them against one another. Now, this celebrity-ran administration didn't start with the Orange Man. Remember Ronald Reagan, the country's 40th president, was an actor in Hollywood for over 2 decades before entering politics, shifting political dynamics for years to come. Also, Arnold Schwarzenegger, one of the most iconic faces to emerge out of Hollywood, led California's governor's seat from 2003 to 2011. This isn't only a thing in the US, but a lot of other countries' politics teeters the entertainment spectrum as well. Take the island of Jamaica, where both political parties have to employ comedic tactics and gimmicks to score points with the average citizen who supports the polls the most but are the least changed by the outcomes. In order to score points with the youth dem, Prime Minister Andrew Holness leans into elements of the gangsta persona by wearing Clarks, a brand that is associated with donmanship in Jamaica, and claiming the title of Bro God, a play on dancehall artist Mavado's Gully God alias, furthering his enamoration with the younger demographic. In other words, playing into the negative but entertaining fashion trope. Meanwhile, in 2024, Vybz Kartel's appearance at the PMP's conference shortly after his prison release, where he performed to an enthusiastic crowd, raising the party's fist salute, drew criticism from his past conviction and the genre's sometimes violent/misogynistic lyrics, with concerns about influencing youth and crime perceptions. And I know some of y'all will say, well, this more teeters on crime and violence, but remember, crime and violence is entertaining to a lot of people. My goal here is not to demonize entertainment. That said, I do think at some point entertainment became a tool to keep us fed. Everything is entertainment, and it's been this way for a long time. And maybe collectively we deserve what's happening right now. We've reached the pacifier's breaking point. Distraction is harder to come by and ignoring the injustices and atrocities that's taking place in the world is becoming less of a luxury. Like I said, it's getting harder to ignore the issues of the world. Meanwhile, people are still searching for entertainment, which represents how we are fragmented as a society, i.e., monoculture is becoming less prevalent. We are placing high stock on better times, such as dwelling on former years, such as 2016. Dubbing 2016 the last time the world felt simple, when Drake was actually likable, EDM was somewhat still poppin', partying made sense along with One Night Stands. I should probably cut that out. Lush Life, a 2015 track by Swedish singer Zara Larsson, is now impacting the Spotify Global and is now charting on the Hot 100, currently in the top 40, a new peak for the song. All the time, art or being artistic appears less and less worthwhile, losing the spark and weight it once carried. Now, I could be the only one on this hill, but this conundrum resembles the days of the gladiator and bread and circuses of ancient Rome. For those who are unaware, bread and circuses refers to a strategy of superficial appeasement, providing the masses with basic necessities like free food or grain, and entertainment such as public games, gladiator contests, chariot races, more spectacle to keep them docile, to prevent political unrest and real reforms. It feels like this is what's currently happening, and a culmination of why we are no longer entertained. I hear people talk about how the world needs a reset, this, that, and the third, but people love talking that good shit on the internet, and I fear all we secretly yearn for is more bread and circuses.
Hello, you owe me money. Oh. Okay.
What do you think? I am Don, your pop culture grandpapa, and I will see you in the next one.
Your daddy, your mama, your brother, your sister, the dog, the cat, the fish was home when you left.